And week 2 underway in Jacksonville. Returning for the Cardinals, LaRod Stevens howling, the rookie, across the 26-yard line. And 38-year-old Kurt Warner taking the field. He's been a Super Bowl MVP, a league MVP. Just hoping to get things going for the Cards in this game.
He's excited, like we touched on, with the fact that Steve Breaston's back this week. Last week, there really wasn't a comfort zone for this offense, and you could just see not only was Kurt uncomfortable and the offensive line was having problems with the protection, but now that he has all of his weapons back, look for them to utilize those guys.
Tim Hightower in the backfield. Fitzgerald and Bolden, the receivers. That's the tight end Spock in motion. And Hightower gets the handoff. Kind of like the opening game. Not a lot of rushing yards, and big John Henderson was there for the Jags. And in this starting lineup, of course, the key with Hightower in the backfield, we'll see Beanie Wells, Fitzgerald, Bolden, not 100%, but healthy off the hamstring.
This offensive line is starting their 22nd straight game together. If you look at last week's game and if you look at this first play, they're going to have to play much better for this team to get it done today. 12
penalties last week for the team. Many of those pre-snap on offense that have the Cardinals talking this week. Now Steve Breaston is in the game, who was out last week with a swollen knee. On second down. 3 receivers on the left. Warner throws and completes to Bolden. And Anquan gets across the 35, 36-yard line of Arizona. Considine bringing him down. Checking the defense for the Jags, and Reggie Hayward, their veteran up front, hurt on the last play of the game last week. A broken fibula, out for the season. So Henderson, Terrence Knighton, Tia Ellison, the rookies up front in the 3-4.
And Justin Durant last week led the team in tackles, and he's the type of linebacker that can play sideline to sideline.
Rashean Mathis, a Jacksonville native, will get a lot of activity. It was a first down, so from just inside the 36. Warner with time, pressure coming, and he just got rid of it and completes near midfield again. That's Anquan Bolden for another Cardinal first down.
You can see early on they're trying to keep Kurt in quick throws. The first throw to Bolden, right here it's a 3-step drop. He's looking to get the ball out of his hand. He doesn't realize the pressure coming from the backside. Does a good job of getting the ball off and getting another first down with this passing game.
A 14-yard pickup. That's Rashean Mathis from his corner position, applying pressure. And, of course, the hip surgery. Kurt Warner saying he's still in pain, but the aftermath of that surgery not affecting his throwing. Some talking about that around the league this week. From midfield. Handoff, Hightower. And, again, not a lot of running room. John Henderson making the stop. Now Hightower caught 12 passes last week, but Ken Wisenhunt said that's all they were giving us, the San Francisco defense.
And San Francisco did a good job last week with the way they kept their depth and they kept everything in front of them. You can see with the early passes that the Cardinals have utilized today, the quick throw to Bolden, the other quick throw to Bolden where there's short passes where they turn and convert those into first down.
Second down at about 9. Preston and Jeremy Urban in the game on the right side. Bolden and Fitzgerald on the left side. Hightower in motion. He splits out. Pressure. Warner quick throw completes to Bolden. He's got running room. Mathis there, and Bolden, who played his college ball at Florida State, happy to be coming back from Pahokee, Florida, about 3 hours from here. So last week, Bolden practiced all week, he didn't practice all week and did play. Steve Breaston practiced all week and did not play, but you could feel the relief of Kurt Warner having all 3 receivers in the game. And there's the Pahokee rooting section. His high school coach is here. The Seminole star, Anquan Bolden, didn't get back to play in Florida much, but happy that they're here in Jacksonville. On 3rd and short, pass is complete to Fitzgerald. He hangs on at the 35.
And that's where a receiver of Fitzgerald's ability and size, when you're in a 3rd and short, it's pretty known around the league that there's going to be a lot of slant routes. There's going to be a lot of one-on-one routes. When you get a big body like that, Kurt does a good job of keeping this ball on Larry's body. Instead of putting it out there where Rashean Mathis can come in there and rip his arms and knock that ball out, he does a good job of keeping it on his body, and Larry, being the physical receiver that he is, hauls that ball in.
Tim Hightower in. First down from the 35 of Jacksonville. Hightower brought down at the line of scrimmage. And Derek Harvey, the ex-Gator, first-round draft pick of a year ago, only had 3.5 sacks last year. And they want him to be more active, apply pressure, but be more of a complete player on this defense.
He wasn't someone last week that they were real happy with his play, and that's why he was out of that game quite a bit last week. And you can see with what they're utilizing him today, he shoots that inside gap on the tight end, gets penetration, and causes a problem in the run game.
Hightower out. Beanie Wells, the rookie from Ohio State, is in. Preston in motion, and Wells gets it. And there goes Beanie. A big run as he showed when he had opportunities on limited carries in the opener.
And when you see the change of pace that Beanie Wells brings to the game, he adds an explosion. You see his vision as he gets through the hole, but when he has an opening, he just hits another gear and explodes into the secondary.
A 17-yard pickup. 3 years at Ohio State, 30 touchdowns, averaged nearly 6 yards a game. Reggie Nelson tackled him, and of course Nelson, as a Gator, defeated Wells as a Buckeye in the BCS championship game a few years ago. 1st and 10 Cardinals. Opening drive impressive. Kurt Warner wants to make sure and calls a timeout. Wells carries and has room. Down inside the 10-yard line. The Wells factor, at least according to Ken Wisenhunt and Kurt Warner, a downhill attacking, move the pile kind of runner.
And with the offensive line making holes the way they're making it so far in this game, he has the ability to burst through those holes, get into that second-level defense where the linebackers are, where the secondary is, and cause problems if he can get to that level all day.
Wells remains in the backfield. He carries. Ball is loose. The ball is fumbled. Rasheed Mathis had a chance, and it looked like the Cardinals got it back.
Anthony Becht on the 1-yard recovery there.
At the 1-yard line.
So Wells gained yardage, lost the football. The Jags had a shot with Mathis, but the Cards come up with it.
And this is one of the things as a young player, you've got to understand, as you get near the goal line, they're gonna try and rip that ball out of there. And you can see as he's coming through the hole, he's not tucking that ball away as clearly as he should be. He's swinging it around, and you don't want that when the play is near the goal line.
Big time recovery on 1st and goal. Hightower, touchdown Cardinals.
Any question of this Cardinals offense not being in rhythm was put to rest with this first series. They utilized quick passes. They utilized Kurt Warner with quick drops. They got the running game was effective. They were able to switch up between Hightower and Benny Wells, and there was a lot of continuity on that drive. There was no rust on that drive.
And Hightower, who had trouble running earlier in the drive, Wells had no problem, and then Hightower scores, and of course things bouncing your way when you're the Cardinals, and alertly getting the fumble so that they don't lose possession, and didn't miss a step. The extra point by Neil Rackers. Anthony Becht with the recovery. Beanie Wells, a lot of work on the drive, and Hightower punches it in. 75 yards, 11 plays. The opening drive nearly 7 minutes as the Cardinals have a 7-0 lead, and will now kick it off in the steamy humidity of Florida as Rackers gets ready to boot it deep. Rashad Jennings is there. Brian Witherspoon with an injury, so the punt and kickoff returns adjusted to, as it is Jennings across the 25-yard line. Here in Jacksonville, the Jags will get a chance on offense, and David Garrard, 31 years old, came under fire from his coach after a shaky offensive performance last week. Only sacked once, but under pressure the entire game.
He does a good job of using his feet in the pocket. He has 2 rookie tackles, and he's going to need that today.
Maurice Jones-Drew splits out for him. Garrard to throw it on 1st down. Has time down the middle. What a grab by Mercedes Lewis. Did he hang on? Came to the ground and lost it.
David Garrard's pass intended for number 80.
That's one of those plays. There was a point of emphasis this year Receivers can have the possession of the ball, but they've got to be able to finish the play. They have to come to the ground. You can look here. He has control of the ball, but when he hits the ground knocks it loose, and that's one of those things that the officials are going to make a point of emphasis this year is you have to control it when you get to the ground.
It is the entire process. The play is not over. Even if the feet touch the ground and you have the ball, you have to come up with it, and Lewis did not. 2nd and 10. Missed opportunity, but don't blame Garrard for that one. 2nd and 10. Jones Drew with a move. Getting back across on the 5-7 running back for the Jags is off. Inside the 40 of Arizona, Maurice Jones-Drew.
You can see the Cardinals bringing pressure from this side. Jones-Drew has the vision. He has the ability to cut back. And once he gets in the open field and has a lane, it's hard bringing down the guy.
A 36-yard pickup in his 4th year. And now he's the man with Fred Taylor off in New England. He is the workhorse. And we understand why. Montel Owens in to give Jones-Drew a breather. Garrard for Torrey Holt inside the 20.
Good job by Garrard on the play fake. After coming up with a big run the play before, he gets the play fake, gets time in the pocket. He puts the ball on the money, and Torrey Holt, that's what he's done his entire career. Make catches in traffic.
You had a chance to throw to him when you were with the Rams.
He comes up with big plays. he's a big play receiver. Over 12,000 yards as a receiver, and so you know you can count on him.
A 7-time Pro Bowler as Jones-Drew checks back in. 1st down for the Jags. Maurice, nice through. Jones-Drew on 2nd down remains the back. And he gets the carry. Cuts back. Gets near the 11-12 yard line. And let's check the offensive lineup for the Jags. And Maurice Jones-Drew in 48 career games coming into this one. 41 touchdowns. So he produces no matter where or how you use him.
And my former teammate Torrey Holt, like we touched on, he brings leadership to this wide receiver group. He brings a lot of yards, over 12,000 yards and over 800 catches. And that's that type of leadership and veteran play that you need from the wide receiver position. And
2 rookie tackles started opening day. Eugene Monroe and Evan Britton. Britton from Arizona, that's where he went to college, in the lineup. On 3rd and 2. Garrard, quick pass, low, and it's not going to be enough for a 1st down to Mike Sims-Walker, their possession receiver.
Rogers Cromartie, he's going to be matched up on that, and he has the speed and the ability. When he sees those quick throws, his explosiveness and his ability to drive on the ball is what caused that problem, because they couldn't get out there and block him. He exploded up on it and made the tackle before he could even make a move.
So it sets up a field goal opportunity of 31 yards for Josh Scobie. Scobie was 2 of 3 last week. The kick is good. 4:41 to go in the opening quarter. And Scobie kicking off. Larod Stevens howling. And Hightower is in the backfield from the 20 on 1st down. Warner has time. Pass is complete across the 30-yard line. A swarm of Jags to get to Anthony Becht, who is the backup to starting tight end Steven Spock.
Not a strong suit of Kurtz moving around in the pocket, but there he had protection. The offensive line did a great job of picking up the blitz and picking up the pressure of the Jacksonville front 7. Kurt did a good job of sliding over and finding Anthony Becht for the completion in the 1st down.
His hip looked okay there. That left hip socket with a torn labrum. Surgery performed by the same doctor that did the surgery for Alex Rodriguez of the Yankees. On 1st down. Inside handoff. That's the rookie, Larod Stevens Howling from Pittsburgh, 7th round draft choice, who backed up LaShawn McCoy at Pitt. Beanie Wells in that opening drive carried just 3 times but racked up 29 yards.
And you're going to see today they're going to utilize all their backs. They just proved that on the last play. They're going to utilize everybody. Now they have their weapons back. Steve Breston's back. They're going to utilize those guys, spread them out, make Jacksonville's defense cover the entire field.
Jason Wright is in the game as a running back on 2nd and 8. And Warner hands off to Hightower, who cuts back the other way. And Tim Hightower inside the 45 of Jacksonville, high stepping for another Arizona first down.
Linebacker Daryl Smith, 52. You see him come up into the pile. He gets lost. When Hightower comes in there, he runs, and you can see Smith runs inside and turns his back on the hole. Hightower has the vision to bounce it outside and go to the gap in the void that was left by Daryl Smith.
And Hightower, his 2nd year out of Richmond, learned a lot from Edgerrin James, he admits. 10 touchdowns last year as a rookie. Warner under pressure to an offensive lineman, and a penalty flag comes out. Levi Brown was not the intended receiver.
Levi Brown struggled some last week. He got beat a few times on the inside, and on this play here, he gets beat once again, and Kurt is trying to get the ball up the field. Fitzgerald's running up the field. Bolden's running up the field. He's trying to really push the ball up the field, which is what they do.
Our referee is Gene Steratore. Has a brother who is a official in the league. Gene went to Kent State, co-owner of a
illegal
supply company.
touching of a forward pass. Offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
As a quarterback, when you're under pressure and you feel that your eyes are up the field, you're trying to look for the big play, knowing where your check down is going to be. When Kurt got that pressure, a lot of times you don't have the ability to look for numbers or look for people. You just know where your check down is going to be. And so as Kurt's going down, he flips thinking that's going to be his check down. And unfortunately, Levi was the one that got it right in the chest.
He's a big target. Kurt said, look, he was open. So Hightower in there on 1st and 15. First penalty of the game. Noise picking up a little. Warner for Preston, and Steve Preston, a first down at the 33-yard line. Hightower smothered. It'll bring up a second if he got anything. 2nd and 10 or 11. Kurt Warner 6 of 6 so far in the game as the Jags defense tightens a bit.
And Justin Duran is a sideline-to-sideline linebacker. Last week he led the team in tackles. He has tremendous speed and the ability to hunt out those running backs and drag them down. And there, with Hightower being bounced around and not being able to hit that hole directly, Durant slid over and made the tackle right at the line of scrimmage.
So from the 34-yard line, Jags hoping to at least slow this Cardinal offense down. Warner, quick pass, completes, ball comes out at the 30-yard line. Anquan Bolden had it, lost it. Cardinals will retain possession.
The Cardinals are extremely fortunate that this ball did not stop before it went out of bounds, because there was no one over there except Jacksonville Jaguar defenders that would have picked the ball up and taken it to the house.
And that's Mathis delivering the hit. Clint Ingram was back there. So we've had a fumble, actually 2, and both have bounced in favor of the Cardinals on 3rd down. Warner with time, completes it short. It's not going to be a first down. That was Bolden underneath.
Neil Rackers is going to come into the game. This is 2 drives in a row where they've gotten into field position. You can see there is a lot more continuity. On this drive, they had the penalty they had to overcome. They had a fumble that knocked the ball backwards, and yet they're still in field goal range to try and get points. And this would be their 2nd series in a row, whereas last week they struggled quite a bit just to get points on the board.
And last week, Neil Rackers was 3 of 3. Field goals 2 from 40 and beyond. This will be 45 yards. The kick. It's up there. It's out there. And it is good there. So 2 drives, both producing points for the Cardinals. 3 seconds remaining here in the opening quarter. So Rackers kicking it off. And Rashard Jennings back for Jacksonville from his goal line. A lot of work there just to get it back to the 20-yard line. The 7th round draft pick from Liberty. Trent Green and Chris Myers with you here in Jacksonville. A 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, trailing 10-3. First time they got the football, the Jags marched down for a field goal. And now Maurice Jones-Drew is out on the left side as a receiver for David Garrard. And a penalty flag.
False start. Offense, number 67. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's on left guard Vince Manawai, coming off of ACL surgery. That was the problem last year in the offensive line. Injuries all over the place. So Jack Del Rio going to the rookie tackles, Evan Britton and Eugene Monroe. And said they played pretty well last week against the Indianapolis Colts in their first career start. So a 1st and 15. Maurice Jones-Drew gets some of that back. Now, I know Cardinal defensive units use Adrian Wilson moving around because they want to keep an eye on Maurice Jones-Drew because he can hide behind those big linemen.
It is hard to see him, and he talked about that, being able to hide behind those offensive linemen, find the crease, find the lane, and then be able to hit it. But the Cardinals defense did a good job that time locating him and bringing him down for only a 3-yard gain.
And just in case, he's also the emergency quarterback, the 3rd quarterback for this team. Luke McCown, the backup of Garrard. 2nd and 12 and another penalty flag.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
2nd and 17. Passes batted down at the line of scrimmage. The offense looking out of sync in this drive for Jacksonville.
And Kalis Campbell, 6'8" defensive end, knowing that David Garrard is only 6 feet tall. That's going to be when you have a shorter quarterback and you're doing a quick 3-step drop. As a defensive end, get your hands up and knock that ball down, and that's exactly what he does.
Campbell out of the University of Miami. 2nd year. This is his 2nd game as a starter for the Cardinals. Now 3rd and 17. A tough spot for Garrard. He has time. He slips away. Garrard on the run, completes well short of the first down to Torrey Hope. That will bring up a punting situation. He, since 2007, has run for more yards than any other quarterback in the NFL.
And this is what we touched on the beginning of the broadcast. David Garrard, yes, he has rushed for a lot of yards, but he wants to buy time in the pocket. He's not looking to go downfield and get blown up by these defenders. He wants to buy time to find the receivers. The receiver's job, when they see the quarterback scramble, is to work back to the quarterback to try and get themselves open. Get to the boundary, come back, so the defender doesn't have a chance to knock it down.
And Antrell Roll back to receive the punt. It bounces inside the 35. It looked like it was touched. And it was. Fumble, Cardinals, recovery, Jags.
That is completely on Antrell Roll. How he lets that hit the ground. He had the ability to come up, whether he was going to make a fair catch or try and catch it anyway. He has the ability here to run up and make the catch. The ball only drops a couple yards from him. Instead, it hits his own guy. The Jaguars are all surrounding him. Make the fair catch, but when the ball hits his own player, the Jaguars are right there to jump on it and recover the fumble.
It grazed Greg Toller and Sean Considine, the former Eagle, on this team because of his smarts, according to Jack Del Rio, was wise to get there and recover the football. So a big break that could change things. Our first turnover of the game from the 26-yard line of the Cardinals. Garrard steps back to throw it. Has time in the pocket. This time he's going to take off and run. Slides down around the 21-yard line. Yeah, he looked like he was down. And yes, did the ball come out? And the official says clearly Jacksonville football. Now, you know.
Well, they're saying it was a fumble. You can see where they're marking it back where the fumble was recovered. I thought he was down. So it should really be a 4-yard gain. But if they're indeed on the field, they're calling it a fumble and a recovery by Jacksonville. So they've lost some yardage on that. Garrard, once again, does a good job in the pocket. He buys time. This is not something he's going to want to do all day, is be on the outside with Hayes and getting jumped on and taking those hits. That's something, the wear and tear of a season, you don't want to have to do as a quarterback.
So we'll call it a gain at 2, 2nd and 8. A delayed handoff to Maurice Jones-Drew, and the Cardinals had that smothered. It'll bring up a 3rd down as Gabe Watson stuffed whatever hole may have been there. You know, they held Frank Gore under wraps, who's a pretty good back in the opener. So Maurice Jones-Drew will have a challenge today.
And Maurice Jones-Drew came up with that big 36-yard run on the first series, but for the most part, this Arizona defense, last week they held San Francisco to under 1 yard per carry, and without that big run, they're doing another good job today. They just can't give up those big plays. So
a 3rd and 12, you're in the range of Scobie if you don't lose yardage here. Garrard pass for the head of Torrey Holt. No flag. Bryant McFadden, the former Steeler from Florida State, making the play. So that brings up a field goal opportunity.
As a quarterback, you think that's early. You think the receiver has position, you put the ball in the right spot. From the look of the replay, it looks like the defender got there early and got Torrey's body turned. Generally, that's a catch. With Torrey's hands as strong as they are, he generally comes up with that play. And you can see Jack Del Rio not agreeing with that call.
And that's not a reviewable play.
It's a judgment call. The pass interference is a judgment call, and that's not Jack Del Rio can throw the red flag all he wants, but they can't review it.
46-yard field goal attempt. The crowd didn't like it at all, and neither did Del Rio. Scobie. It's blocked straight up in the air. And for the Cardinals, Antrel Roll has the football. And Antrel Roll will glide into the end zone for a touchdown.
Well, I guess that makes up for his mistake on the punt by not coming up and catching it.
It was as if the play was in slow motion, the reaction from the Jags players and even the crowd here.
Good pressure by the Cardinals. You can see the penetration up the middle. There's our guy Calais Campbell again, 6'8". You get that type of penetration and you're 6'8", you're able to get your hand up there and knock that ball down. And once again, most special teams coordinators, when that ball crosses the line of scrimmage like that, they tell everybody poison, get away from the ball. Roll, I think, was trying to make up for something there and turns it into a touchdown.
Well, it was a great reaction by him, but there's
After
a flag.
The play, unsportsmanlike conduct, Jacksonville, number 10, for removing his helmet. That 15-yard penalty will be assessed on the kickoff.
A double whammy for Josh Scobie. You could see him giving somebody a hard time on the Arizona kick team after it was blocked and they went the other way. And you take your helmet off on the field, that's an automatic, no matter what you say. But what a play by Antrel Roll.
No matter what you say and what you do, you can't take your helmet off. And Antrel Roll does a great job getting the ball. At first you think it's a little dangerous because the ball goes downfield, but he's able to return it for 6.
The Cardinals holding the upper hand. Antrel Roll on the 83-yard blocked kickoff return for a touchdown. He's had 4 interceptions run back for scores and 1 fumble. And now this to give the Cards a 17-3 lead on the road.
And once again, when you get a block and you have the ability to return it, the Jacksonville Jaguars, all they have out there is big guys trying to protect. So as far as chasing him down, that wasn't going to happen.
That's why it was slow developing. And Roll was happy about that. Rackers just kicks it out of the end zone. It's amazing how quickly things can turn.
The Jacksonville Jaguars feel that they had a pass interference on 3rd down, which would have given them a 1st down inside the red zone. Instead, they go for the field goal to make it 10-6. The field goal gets blocked, returned for a touchdown. Now you're sitting here 17-3 trying to get points on the board for Jacksonville.
And it was McFadden that made the defensive play, and Antrel Roll the return. On 1st and 10 from the 20. Garrard will keep it and pick up about 4 or 5 yards.
David once again has play fake, gets outside the pocket. That was a built-in play for him to get outside the pocket. It was a bootleg, but you got to give the Cardinals credit on defense. He had no one open, and people say that there's times where David Garrard sits in the pocket, he holds the ball too long, he runs around trying to make plays. On that play there was no one open. He had 3 receivers out, and all 3 of them were covered.
And Ken Wisenhunt without Chike O'Keefer, one of his key defenders from the linebacker rush end position, out with a shoulder injury. Bertrand Berry taking his spot on 2nd down 6 for the Jags. Another penalty as Maurice Jones-Drew carries it up near the 40-yard line. It was a series of false starts against the Jags offense that put him in a hole in the previous series. Gene Steratore will tell us what's going on.
Illegal motion. Offense, number 83. 5-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Greg Estandia from the tight end position.
When the tight end, as they're moving across the line of scrimmage, you cannot be moving downhill. You can't be moving forward. And see how he starts creeping forward? They're going to get you every time on that because that's something they tell those line judges to really pay close attention to.
So the Cardinals, who have just 1 penalty so far, and that was an issue for them last week with a dozen. Jacksonville with 4 penalties already, and we have 10-20 to go here in the 2nd quarter. 2nd down 11. Garrard, quick pass and behind Torrey Holt. And I'll bring up a 3rd down.
And that was a good job by Carlos Dansby dropping into that lane. David Garrard taking a quick drop. Defensive players know that. They look for those 3-step drops, those 1-step drops to get the ball out of their hands, and they try and block those lanes. Good job by Carlos Dansby dropping back into that lane and forcing Garrard to throw that ball behind the receiver.
Garrard 3 out of 7. Weathered the criticism like a professional this week. Needs a big play here. Low snap. Time to throw and completes near the 1st down marker as Troy Williamson was knocked forward. But the crowd on Garrard's side as they get the 1st down.
And that's the risk as a defensive coordinator when you're in a 3rd and long situation and you decide to rush 5 or 6 guys. You're leaving your defensive backs one-on-one, and if you don't get to the quarterback, the offensive line of the Jaguars gives him a good pocket. If you don't get to the quarterback and he has the ability with these one-on-one matchups, someone in a matter of time is going to get open.
13-yard pickup. Maurice Jones-Drew remains the back. It's a 1st down from across the 33 of Jacksonville. The middle is clogged. Garrard has time. Throws in and out of the hands near the 1st down marker, and rarely do you see that from Torrey Holt.
The sure-handed Torrey Holt from time to time does have a drop, and I thought it was a good job by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not sure if that was a run-pass check. You see 8 guys for Arizona's defense were stacked inside the box. You have one-on-one for both of your receivers on the outside. If they're going to stack everybody in there and try and stop the run game on those early down and distances, you've got to be able to get the passing game going with those one-on-ones.
And you've got Troy Williamson and Holt to do it. 2nd down 10. That is Maurice Jones-Drew. He'll have a couple, and it'll bring up a 3rd down. Gabe Watson making the stop for this Cardinal defense. Garrard, a guy who lost about 20 pounds during the offseason. His wife got him on a special diet he thought would give him a little more mobility.
Sometimes that's good when you're trying to move around, but sometimes when you're taking those hits, you'd rather have a little extra weight to cushion those blows.
He needs a healthy diet of 9 or 10 yards here on 3rd down. 3-man front for the Cardinals. Garrard has time, and it's over towards Maurice Jones-Drew at the 40, but short of the 1st down.
And that was a much different approach by Bill Davis, the Cardinals defensive coordinator. He only rushed 4 and dropped 7 that time.
So that'll be a punting situation for Jacksonville. Adam Podlash will be on to boot it. Trailing by 14. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie, one of the corners here with McFadden the other on this Arizona defense. And back to return. Antrell Roll. He failed on the fair catch the last time. It bounces, and there's nobody in the area for Arizona for the ball to touch. Penalty flag comes out on the end of the play. And let's see what the call is as the ball bounced.
I don't know about you, Chris, but I'm shocked that he didn't come up and catch that ball after what happened on the last one.
It looked like he may have gone out of bounds and come back in. one of the players, Kennard Cox from Jacksonville. And we'll see what the call is. Obviously, Greg Toller, who last time the ball grazed off his shoulder.
Illegal touching. The kick, number 20 of the kicking team, was out of bounds, first to touch the scrimmage kick. 5-yard penalty will be added to the end of the play. First down, Arizona, timeout.
1st and 10 from up near the 30. Warner has time, completes to Steve Preston near the first down marker.
And I think that's good for Kurt in the pocket. Give him a semi-roll, give him a slight rollout, change up his location where he's throwing from. You don't want the defenders to just tee off in one spot because you know Kurt is going to stay in the pocket. He wants to stay in the pocket, but moving him around a little bit is going to cause some things to run through the defender's head as to where we're going to attack from.
And Kurt was specific about having his 3 guys, Preston, Bolden, and Fitzgerald, in the rotation, that affects the entire rhythm of the offense. That was not the case last week. Here he hands off to Hightower. It's changed everything so far today.
And the rhythm of this Arizona offense just looks a lot better. And I know this is only their 3rd time on the field. It seems like forever since they've been on the field. Jacksonville had the ball, then they punted, they got the ball back, they went for the field goal, got a return. So it's been a while since this Arizona offense has been on the field, but anytime you can come back on the field and it's a 17-3 lead, try and maintain that rhythm and try and keep the balance between the run and the pass, and they've been very effective on offense today.
That was a first down run for Hightower. Chris Beanie Wells in the backfield for Kurt Warner. And Wells has it. The rookie from Ohio State motoring downfield for another first down. Penalty flag on the back end down at the 48-yard line of Arizona.
Holding, offense, number 76, 10-yard penalty, replay first down.
Deuce Latui called for the infraction.
And a week ago, it was a problem for Arizona. They had 12 penalties a week ago against San Francisco, and so far up to this point, they haven't shot themselves in the foot, whereas Jacksonville, they've had a number of penalties that continually move their offensive unit back, and they've had some poor decisions in special teams area on the other end of things.
So that's the 2nd penalty for Arizona. Yeah, he was preached to. That's how Ken Wisenhunt said penalties during the week, so interpret that how you will. On 1st and 20. Quick pass by Warner. Fitzgerald catches it and hangs out. Is knocked down right away. For Larry Fitzgerald, his 2nd catch of the game.
What Kurt picks up here is the corner coming on a blitz. And Mathis reads that and sees that Kurt's going to make a quick throw and try and make the side adjustment behind him. Mathis, being a bigger corner, is able to jump up there and cause a little bit of misdirection on that ball. But with Fitzgerald and his size, Kurt's got a lot of area to miss with, and he just was able to throw it around Mathis on that corner blitz.
And Rashean Mathis said facing Larry Fitzgerald, it's a primetime game. It's like a playoff when you get Cardinal receivers like this. Warner. Pass to Hightower. That won't gain much, so it'll bring up a 3rd down. Pass is complete. That's Jeremy Urban who gets near the first down.
Kurt Warner's pass is complete to number 85, Jeremy Urban. Knocked out of bounds by number 56.
Good job by the Jacksonville defense putting pressure on Kurt. Kurt's able to hit his check down.
But all the weapons you got to worry about, Fitzgerald, Bolden, Preston. Warner, pass to Hightower, stiff arming. Last year, they were 50% on 4th down. They went for it 16 times, and another completion. That's 13 out of 13 for Warner, and more importantly, first down Cardinals.
Great play call by Ken Wisenhunt. Everybody's stacked in the box, thinking it's going to be an isolation run. The tight end motions to the backfield to give him another back in the backfield, thinking it's going to be an isolation run. They do the play fake, sneak Hightower out in the flat, and they get the first down.
Lions upsetting Minnesota 10-0 in the 2nd quarter. New England up on a Jets team that did some trash talking during the week. Check of all the scores and stats in the upper corner there as the handoff is to Beanie Wells again. Ball is loose. 2nd fumble by Wells, and this time the Jags recover. That's Rashean Mathis, who is not down yet. Rasheed Mathis.
I think that ball's coming back.
He stepped out of bounds inside the 35. We have a Cardinal player pointing that he's down way back at the 25.
They're not marking it back there, but I guarantee the Cardinals are going to review this because it looked once he recovered that ball that Anthony Beck was right there to touch him while he was on the ground. But Beanie Wells, you're going to have a hard time getting on the field if you have 2 fumbles in the first half. As explosive as you may be as a runner, if you cannot hold on to the ball in the NFL, you are not going to play.
So from behind, the ball knocked out. And I don't know if he was touched at all.
Well, you see Beck coming in from the left side of the screen. He dives over the top. Whether or not he touches him, that's going to be the part that they review.
Yeah, it was Darrell Smith who knocked the ball loose. And then coming down the sidelines here, the official clearly marks him out. And there is going to be a challenge. There's no question about the Jags recovering the football. We would assume it's where they take possession after the fumble by Wells.
And whether or not the league has the ability to see the right angle, whether or not Beck touches him, it appears that he had a chance to touch him. But from the 2 views that we saw up to this point, it's not conclusive enough to overturn it.
After review, after recovering the fumble, the Jacksonville player was touched down by contact at the 21-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 Jacksonville. Ball will be placed on the left hash mark on the Jacksonville side of the football field. Would the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. 4:30 on the game clock. Arizona is not charged with a timeout. Thank you.
A good challenge for Ken Wisenhunt and a bad play for Wells. After the 11-yard run, his second fumble, the first that was not recovered by the Cardinals. And from the 21-yard line, the Jags will get the football. Levi Brown, by the way, an ankle injury and questionable for the remainder of the game in that Cardinal offensive line. Jags need their offense to get going. They have a golden opportunity here. An obvious penalty.
Offside unabated to the quarterback. Defense number 54. 5-yard penalty. First down.
And yesterday, having a chance to talk with Cardinals defensive coordinator Bill Davis, he realizes a week ago they had 3 encroachment penalties by the defense. He doesn't want to take that aggressiveness away from them, but he also tells them they have to be smart. They have to know situations. They have to understand that you can't continually jump off sides.
Bill Davis, former linebacker coach here. A Steeler-style defense is what he brings as the coordinator. Maurice Jones-Drew doesn't get much. Excellent defensive coverage is Carlos Dansby there to make the stop. And Maurice Jones-Drew just never wants to leave the field. In fact, the Cardinals were impressed how well he picks up blitzes.
Well, he never wants to leave the field, but if you're the Jaguars, you better find a replacement for him or someone that can give that balance in the backfield.
2nd down 3. Garrard has time and completes it to Drew for a Jacksonville first down.
Once again, the Jaguars have to find a way to get the ball up the field. A week ago, David Garrard's average per attempt was barely over 4 yards, and right now he's hitting his check down.
A little bit of a hurry up here by Garrard on the offense on 1st and 10.
This is good. You want to change the tempo as Jacksonville. Things haven't been going real well.
He has time down the middle. The big tight end hangs on. Mercedes Lewis. They thought, the Jags did, that opportunity would be there much of the day.
And the 2 biggest throws the Jacksonville Jaguars have had have been to Mercedes Lewis. Now, the first one, the defender was able to knock it out on the ground. Here, you see him get behind the linebackers, and Garrard does a nice job of touching it over the linebackers, but yet keeping it in front of the safeties.
That's 6'6". A grab easy for him as Garrard is trying to slip a tackle or two. That 20 pounds he shed is coming in handy here. Motoring, crisscrossing, serpentine. He goes out of bounds inside the 35.
Great job by the Cardinal defense. They smelled the screen out. That's what Jacksonville was trying to set up. Garrard was buying time with his feet, trying to draw the rush. The Cardinals did a good job of recognizing that. It's just with his athletic ability, buying time and scrambling to the right, scrambling all the way back to the left. That extra 20 pounds losing that came in big on that one.
We could all lose a few pounds, but that's a big first down now from the 35, and the Jags need points here, and really a field goal, maybe a moral victory. But Garrard has other ideas. He's rushed 3 times for 19 yards. First down pass complete. That's Troy Williamson. Did he lose the football? Looked like it came out at the end, and Adrian Wilson was there to scoop it up.
I would say by Williamson's reaction down on the field that he thinks it's a fumble as well. He's not thinking that he was down.
Unless there is an injury.
This is where Williamson, they want to utilize his speed. When talking to the coaches, they said Troy Williamson's the guy that has that difference maker from a speed standpoint. And you can see there when he reaches out for the ball, that can cause shoulder injury, especially when you see the weight of the defender falling on top of him.
That's Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie that knocked the ball loose, and Adrian Wilson came up with it. And Troy Williamson is still down. Tim Hightower in from across the 32 on 1st and 10. Pass to Hightower. High in the air and out of bounds near the first down.
Warner's pass is complete to number 34.
And after Warner was harassed last week, he has not been in trouble today at all. We have another player who is injured down on the field. Scott starts. Tyron Brackenridge likely to come in for Derek Cox. Now, Kurt Warner is 1 pass away for the team record of consecutive throws without a miss. Jake Plummer, 15 of 15 for this franchise. Warner, 14 of 14 so far, 115 yards from the 40-yard line.
2-minute warning.
2 minutes to go before the half. 3 fumbles lost in the first half, and the most recent by Troy Williamson, who left the field injured. Cardinals come up with it. A big play from Adrian Wilson on the recovery. As LaRod Stevens-Howling is in the game on 2nd and 2 for Warner. It's another completion for Kurt. And running down inside the 40 is Steve Preston, where he goes out of bounds. Cardinals have 2 timeouts remaining.
And that was a great job by Preston getting out of bounds because it conserves those two timeouts. And now they're inside the 40. They're already in field goal range. I saw Rackers out here in pregame warmup. He was consistently hitting 60-yard field goals, so they're already in field goal range. So now it's a matter of trying to get in the end zone and utilizing those timeouts to best balance their play calling.
From the 38-yard line, wonder if we'll see Chris Beanie-Wells in the game as Hightower is in now. 1st and 10. Here comes pressure. Pass is thrown in a hurry and incomplete. That's the first incompletion. Looks like it was tipped at the line of scrimmage. So Warner and Plummer share the 15 consecutive pass completion team mark as the Jags force a 2nd and 10 now. How much do you think about that as a quarterback on the field? Somebody makes you aware those numbers that you get a streak going?
You have no idea.
You said that
unless someone comes up to you on the sideline and specifically lets you know, but for the most part you don't know any of that stuff going on.
We're worried about the first down as Hightower is in on 2nd down. Pressure again from Jacksonville. First steps up, completes the pass. Jeremy Urban. He's been the go-to guy in those key situations. He set him up for that 4th and short when they were in trouble before, and here he gets a big first down.
And that's where Kurt looks a lot more comfortable this week standing in the pocket than he did a week ago. Here you see someone coming up free off the edge. He doesn't even phase. He just steps up, slides up, buys some time, and dumps the ball off to Jeremy to get that big first down and keep this drive going before the half.
Jeremy Urban from Trinity College in West Virginia was on the Cowboy roster for a while, but has found a nice spot here. 1:41 to go. 1st and 10. This is Hightower for a couple inside the 25 of Jacksonville. Clock running.
You can do that when you have timeouts to burn, and you can see Kurt looked over to the sideline and wanted to see if Coach Wisenhunt wanted to call timeout, but he said keep it going because you want this clock. You don't want to give Jacksonville any time to come back. So with the 2 timeouts, he said keep the clock running and call the play at the line.
Warner from the shotgun at 2nd down. There's time. Ball is tipped in the air and still caught. What a grab. That's Anquan Bolden staying with it. And Bolden was the guy who gave the impassioned speech to the Cardinal players after they lost a tough in-division game against San Francisco. Last year, the Cardinals swept the NFC West on their way to the playoffs of the Super Bowl.
And Daryl Smith puts his hand up, is able to tip that ball. Anquan Bolden does a great job of concentrating, bringing that ball in with strength as the defender is hitting him from behind. But Daryl Smith dropping into those lanes, that's something that we talked about earlier. He having the ability to get in the way of those short throws. But sometimes it's better to be lucky and get those bounces going your way. And the Cardinals have had those bounces going for them today.
One timeout remaining, 1 minute to go. First down for Arizona. Kurt Warner. Pass complete. That's a touchdown to Jason Wright from the backfield.
He has Considine one-on-one. Considine comes up like he's going to pressure, like he's coming off the edge. He peels with the receiver, but the receiver is able to get around him and get into the end zone. You can see Jason Wright coming out of the backfield. Considine comes up like he's going to pressure. Wright is able to throw him by and get inside of him, and Kurt has that vision and ability to stand in the pocket and put it right on him.
So making it look easy. 24 points already. Kurt Warner is 18 out of 19 for 173 yards. And the extra point by Rackers. That one goes a little to the right, but it gets through. And the Cardinals with a 24-3 advantage. 55 seconds to go here before halftime.
Well, all of a sudden, Kurt Warner is 38-year-old quarterback. Everybody wants to talk about his hip surgery, talk about his injuries. He was ineffective. He had his worst quarterback rating on an opening day last week, and so that draws a lot of attention. The offense wasn't as good as what people remember from a year ago. But like he told us yesterday, Steve Breston's back. The receivers are healthy. He's got the ability to spread the ball around. And I just think overall he looks a lot more comfortable in the pocket, sliding up, moving around, finding those receivers, and he just looks a lot better today, a lot more comfortable.
Even at his age, he's still hip and looking healthy today. Now, what do the Jags have to do to respond? Because, you know, they were at 9-4. This is the 15th year of the franchise. In home openers, they've been terrific in the past. Garrard feeling the heat, and yet their defense has let them down so far.
Their defense has let them down, and offensively, they've had some penalties, they've had some turnovers, and of course, the block kick that got returned for a touchdown.
So a squib kick here, and a penalty flag right away. Let's see what the call is. Remember, there are rules.
Please reset the game clock to 55 seconds. Due to the fact that the ball had come off the kicking tee just before the kicker attempted the kick, we will re-kick.
So that wasn't.
Please reset the game clock to 55 seconds.
Wasn't by design, as you see the ball fall, so you have to be fair to Neil Rackers.
And what a great job by Rackers.
Way to just play right through.
Just play right through it. You know, go ahead and squib it. Just take it as it is. And a good job by the linesman to pick that up. A lot of times you're looking to see if you have guys that are off sides on that kicking team, but he was aware that that ball had blown off the tee.
Rackers coming off a terrific season. Has delivered today when called upon. And the Cardinals with a 21-point lead. Don't want to give the Jags anything to work with. Jacksonville 3 timeouts. Rashad Jennings from his goal line, and he doesn't hang on. Gets it back. And field position will be tough inside the 15 of Jacksonville. 50 seconds to go.
And I don't know what's going to transpire here in the next 50 seconds. They may run down and get a touchdown or get some points before they go to half. But right now, you've got to imagine that Jack Del Rio at halftime is going to rip these guys. He's got to be upset with the penalties, got to be upset with the turnovers. It looks like there's a lack of focus. He's not going to be happy with this bunch at all, and I have a feeling he's going to let them know at halftime.
And on the Troy Williamson injury, Nate Hughes would be one receiver, or Mike Sims-Walker that they could use, as Rashad Jennings is the running back on 1st and 10. Quick pass to Torrey Holt. Falls near a first down. You have to be aggressive when you're trailing by 21.
Well, you have to be, and with 44 seconds left in the half, you have 3 timeouts. You utilize one of those timeouts right here. You're trying to get in a position where you can at least attempt a field goal, but when they come out in the second half, they're going to have to be an aggressive unit. When you're down 21 points and Arizona's offense is playing as well as they are, from a Jacksonville offensive standpoint, you better get a lot more aggressive with your play calling, which is going to in turn put a lot more pressure on those 2 young tackles.
And David Garrard who said he's active on Twitter, actively telling people where to meet him, and he'll give away tickets at the gas station, at the corner. It's a way to kind of reach out to the fans and stir up a little support here for the Jags in Jacksonville. 1st and 10. Jennings, the running back. Garrard to throw it, and way short as that bounces to Mike Sims Walker, receiver out of Central Florida, at his 3rd year.
And you can hear the response of the crowd. They're not real happy with that. The Cardinals on that play rushed 4 defenders, dropping 7 into coverage. David Garrard had a chance to complete that ball, and he bounced it short. And the fans expressed their concern.
The quarterback usually catches more heat.
Yes, they do.
For obvious reasons here. And now it looks like they're just going to try to run things out. Cardinals have a timeout to use, and they're going to burn it. Wanted to get your reaction to the coach, Jack Del Rio, saying, I wasn't really calling out my quarterback. I had to be honest about things he missed in the opening week.
Well, my experience in the head coaches I've played for, Coach Vermeil, Coach Norv Turner, they had a feeling you don't want to call out your starting quarterback, whether it be in the practice field, whether it be in a team meeting.
In a public setting.
In a public setting. You don't want to do it through the media. You don't want to do it at a team meeting. Most of the time when you're dealing with your quarterback, because your quarterback is the leader of the team. Your quarterback is the one that the other guys on the team are rallying around. They look to in the locker room. They look to on how things are going to be handled in tough times, how things are going to be handled in good times. And so the approach that Norv and Coach Vermeil had is that they didn't want to do that. They wanted to keep that separate. Now, there are different philosophies, but Coach Del Rio chose to take it to the paper.
And as you said, Garrard handled it, took responsibility. As Potlash punts here, and maybe the Cardinals have a chance to add something to their lead. And the ball gets away from Antrel Roll. Not sure if it was touched or not, but at least he got back to recover it, and it was. So alertly, he stays with it.
Antrel Roll, once again, this is the 3rd punt in a row where he's had problems. If you know the defender's right there, get away from the ball. The other 2 times he had a chance to come up and make the catch.
Now there is sun at this part of the stadium. We had some clouds earlier, but as you said, in this situation, given the adventures he's already experienced, just get away from the football. Of course, he had the 83-yard return of the blocked kick for an Arizona touchdown.
And Kevin Spencer, the Cardinals special teams coordinator, is going to have to look at halftime of replacing him. Steve Breston is also a punt returner. I know he's coming off the injury, so there's been some concern with that, but that may be something that they have to look to in the second half because Antrel Roll is really struggling from a punt return standpoint.
And that miscue may have cost the Cardinals an opportunity to advance down the field and tack on. Some of the fans booing the Jags here, but for Ken Wisenhunt, happy his offense has bounced back after a tough opening loss against San Francisco. At the half, they have a 24-3 lead, and Kurt Warner has been flawless. Nate Hughes back to return again. Brian Witherspoon, because of a hamstring, had been their kickoff and punt return key for the Jags, but inactive today. The Pro Bowler Rackers kicks it through into the end zone, at the back of the end zone. I'm sorry, not through, but down back there where on the 20-yard line, the Jags will take over. With Trent Green from the press box here in Jacksonville. It's sunny and warm out. Chris Myers, glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. A former quarterback fresh from the field, 15 years in the NFL, and a former teammate of Kurt Warner with the Rams back in '99. And history goes, as you know, the opportunity, an injury here, and Kurt Warner gets his break. He offered, by the way, in case you stumbled coming up here, to take the microphone. But as a teammate of his, obviously it's nice to see him having the success he's had.
Well, it is, and once he got comfortable in the pocket, they've done a good job of utilizing. Nice catch there by Lewis.
Mercedes Lewis does hang on.
Coming up with another big catch down the field for Mercedes Lewis. That's the second time he's had a big catch down the field. But going back to Kurt, it's good to see him get back in rhythm. I know he feels more comfortable in the pocket. They've had some balance with the run game and the pass game. He's been able to spread the ball around, having his 3 wide receivers back. He's been able to spread the ball into all 3 of them and utilize all those weapons. But here Jacksonville's looking at another first down and an opportunity to keep moving the ball.
Kurt Warner watching Garrard operate on 1st and 10. He looks one way, throws out of bounds. They talk about that was for Maurice Jones-Drew. He's limited with the Troy Williamson injuries, one of his starting receivers down. So Nate Hughes and Mike Sims Walker will help out with Torrey Holt. But Maurice Jones-Drew and an active receiver out of the backfield for Jacksonville.
on that play, it looks like Garrard was trying to pump fake to Jones and get the receiver over the top, but then once he pump faked, Jones-Drew turned his back and he never saw the ball coming to him. So there was a little bit of miscommunication on that one.
3 turnovers in the first half. On 2nd and 10, Jones-Drew has it, cuts back, a couple of tough yards. Adrian Wilson, Clark Hagan's there to help bring him down.
Good discipline by Higgins and Wilson on that play. Knowing that Jones-Drew is a guy that likes to use the entire field, his vision is very good. He has the ability to cut back, and Hagan and Adrian Wilson stayed home and were in position to make that tackle.
Hagan's one of those former Steelers like Bryant McFadden on this team, as a 3rd down situation, staring Garrard in the face. He has time in the pocket, throws in the air and incomplete. It was for Nate Hughes, and McFadden, the former Florida State Seminole and a Steeler who played against the Cardinals in the Super Bowl, brought in for his leadership in the secondary, and a Steeler-style defense is what the Cardinals want to play more of.
The ball was a little high. It floated a little bit on David. Once the defensive back has him up in the air and is able to drive and knock that ball loose. McFadden did a good job of driving on that ball and being able to knock the ball loose and put the receiver in a position to where he can't hang on, because of, you know, a lot of reasons. When a receiver's up in the air like that, they start worrying about where they're going to land.
Potlatch to punt, and as you mentioned, it is Steve Preston back to watch the punt. Entrell roll. And the Jags once again fail offensively, so Warner and the Cards from their own 32.5-yard line. On 1st down, pass complete to Stevens, Howling, and the 5'7" rookie out of Pittsburgh picks up a good chunk of yardage for an Arizona 1st down.
And every time today the Cardinals have gone with that one-back system or one-back set, and they've motioned the guy out of the backfield to cause an empty set, and the running back goes to a wide alignment. What the Jaguars are doing from an adjustment standpoint, instead of running a linebacker out there or a safety out there, they're bouncing the corner out and leaving the corner about a 10 or 12-yard cushion. So it was just a matter of time before Kurt Warner got to a quick throw out there and set up that, and they were able to convert it into another 1st down.
14-yard pickup from the 46. Hightower in the running back spot. And Tim Hightower carries and has plenty of room, getting to the 47, 46-yard line. Clint Ingram brings him down up Jacksonville. Levi Brown is back in at the right tackle spot on that Cardinal offensive line. He had gone out in the first half with an injury.
And I'm really surprised. Coming into this game, the Jacksonville Jaguars' run defense has been very solid. They've got a reputation as a good defense against the stop the run. And the Cardinals have been doing a good job all day running the ball and keeping that balance with the pass game. But you look at the way that Wells and Hightower have both been able to run the ball, and that's something that they've leaned on all day, Arizona.
And Beanie Wells is back in the game, the rookie from Ohio State, who has run well, but lost a fumble. Cardinals recovered his other fumble. On 2nd down and short, Warner with all day to throw and completes to Preston inside the 30. Derek Cox, the rookie corner from William & Mary, opposite Rasheed Mathis, who was injured in the first half, is back out there for Jacksonville.
Kurt appears that he's going to try doing a shovel pass here. He has a hesitation on his drop. You can see he tries to do a little hesitation to the cornerback, and then he realizes everything's picked up and he has time, and he puts the ball upfield.
8 different receivers have caught passes today for Kurt Warner. He is 20 of 21 for 200+ yards and a touchdown. Beanie Wells in the backfield, Bolden in motion. And Wells on 1st down picks up a yard or 2. Justin Durant, who had double-digit tackles last week, making the stop here. Reggie Hayward, who broke his fibula in the last play of the game last week, had surgery on Friday, is out for the season. One of the locker room leaders for Jacksonville. This is the place on defense where you might need a guy or lean on a guy like Reggie. Arizona hustling here. Penalty flag flies, and Warner with a throw down incomplete.
Good job by Kurt to just get rid of the ball. He realized that pressure was coming. He didn't have anybody open, and threw it into the ground at the tight end's feet.
Offside. Defense. Number 98 lined up in the neutral zone. 5-yard penalty. Replay 2nd down.
That's 2-time Pro Bowler John Henderson.
Kurt gets some pressure in his face, and he realizes he's not going to have the time to get the ball off. He has a quick throw to the flat. He doesn't see the guy get beat. he doesn't see Hightower miss his block, so by the time he comes to the front side and sees that, the best thing for him to do is throw it away and keep the field position that they have.
This Jacksonville defense, which did a nice job keeping Peyton Manning in check, at least on the scoreboard in the opener, has been unable to slow down Warner and the Cardinals here. Hand off Hightower. Corralled at the 25 and ridden backwards. A productive Jags play as Darryl Smith and Derek Cox were all over him.
And that's exactly what you expect from the Jacksonville defense. You talk about how they stuff the run and they like to stretch people sideline to sideline with their speed. Here they try running a quick counter, a scissors play we call it, when they fake in one way and coming back the other, and you can just see the flow of the Jaguars. There are 4 defenders right there. They did a good job of pursuing that and holding them to no gain.
Why is it called scissors?
Scissors, because you see the backs go one way. That you see how Kirk came
like
out.
A cross, right?
Yeah, Kirk came out with the ball and he faked it to the strong side.
Here in Jacksonville, the Jags needing a stop. They have been unable to slow down the Cardinals' high-flying offense here in the second game of the NFL season. Both teams losing close games in their opener. Defensive struggles for the most part. Larry Fitzgerald, only 2 catches today. Bolden has 6 and Steve Preston 4.
And that's the great thing about having so many weapons is there's some days where guys are going to get more attention than others.
On 3rd and 5. Already in field goal range following the Arizona timeout. And the right side moves for the Cardinals.
False start. Offense. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
That is on Levi Brown, 3rd-year player, former #1 pick out of Penn State. Those pre-snap penalties drive a coach crazy.
And Ken Wisenhunt brought that up in our meeting. He was saying that the offensive line had 3, the defensive line had 3, and there was really an emphasis this week on cutting those back.
So an important 3rd down for the Jacksonville defense. Try and give their offense a better opportunity. Warner for Urban, incomplete. And Derek Cox, the rookie, staying right with him. Derek Cox, who got shaken up in the first half, back in there playing, 3rd-round draft pick out of William and Mary. So a field goal opportunity for the Pro Bowler, Neil Rackers, who's been active this year, even down on kickoff coverage. Made a 45-yarder earlier. And this will be from 48. The snap, the hold, the kick, and no good. 1st and 10. Gerard feeling pressure, and he is going to be brought down eventually around the 35-yard line. It was Bertrand Berry who was the first to get to him.
Bertrand Berry is going up against Eugene Monroe, the rookie left tackle. Gets up the field. Gerard, this is one of the few times today where Gerard has stepped back and taken a deep drop. You can see Berry comes up the field off the rookie. He works around. Gerard takes a 7-step drop off the play fake. He's trying to get the ball up the field, but when you have a drop that deep, the tackles have to know that you're going to be setting up about 8 to 9 yards, and just wasn't able to get it done. Great play by Bertrand Berry.
So it brings up a 2nd and 12 and a half. And a penalty flag here. The Jags have had their problems with pre-snap penalties.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
On rookie Evan Britton, 2nd-round draft pick, played his college ball at Arizona. 7 penalties for Jacksonville, 4 for Arizona so far. The first 2 rookie tackles to start on opening day since the Cardinals did it in 1982 with Louis Sharp and Tootie Robbins. The St. Louis Cardinals. 2nd and 17. Pass for Holt. Hang on, it's a sliding catch at the 45. And of course, the rookies starting opening week, the 2nd week, and continuing to get better on the job.
And this is one of the few times where Jacksonville has had the ability, a 3rd and short, to convert for a 1st down.
We'll hurry up offense. Maurice Jones-Drew gets the 1st down near midfield.
Big play by Torrey Holt on 2nd down, sliding catch to get him in range. But as a Jacksonville offense, you want to have manageable 3rd downs, and they haven't had that most of the day because they've been shooting themselves in the foot with penalties and sacks. And by getting themselves into a second down where Torrey Holt comes up with a sliding catch, gets them into a 3rd and short situation where they run the hurry-up offense. They catch Arizona not ready and get the first down.
Jones-Drew in the backfield near midfield. They need to hurry up and get points. Pressure coming from behind. The ball is out. Maurice Jones-Drew recovered it. That was one of those chop moves. And the pressure from Clark Haggans was too much for David Garrard.
Anytime as a quarterback you have your vision down the field, you're looking for that play up the field. And I mentioned that earlier on the sack just a few plays ago. What Jacksonville is trying to do is they're trying to get the ball up the field. They know being down 21, they've got to put some balls up the field, and they've got to put some pressure on the secondary of Arizona. And when you hang it that long, you're going to have some protection issues.
2nd down, 15. Pass almost intercepted for Maurice Jones-Drew. He reached up with one hand. For Troy Williamson, a right shoulder sprain. He is unlikely to return. So Nate Hughes and Mike Sims-Walker to complement Torrey Holt. And not a good thing for Garrard, who this offense has just been out of sync. Whether it's his fault or the offensive line, they just do not have a rhythm, especially when you match them up against Arizona.
Well, just when you think they're going to get things going, they get the big catch on 2nd and long from Torrey Holt. They get the first down. Now all of a sudden they lose 5 yards, an incomplete pass. Now they got 3rd and 15, which they've been facing all day.
And their threatening blitz looked like 100 people at the line of scrimmage. Garrard's going to try to get out of there. Adrian Wilson has it by the waist and brings him down. The ball comes out at the end, and let's see who recovered. And the Cardinals have it.
The Jaguars have a 7-man protection, and Arizona is bringing 7 defenders. So you have a lot of one-on-one matchups, and you have man-to-man down the field, and you just got to get the ball out of your hands when you have all those one-on-one matchups.
1st and 10, Warner with Beanie Wells in the backfield. That's Spock, the tight end. And Stephen gets down around the 30-yard line. Came into play toward the end of last season in the regular season and was a reliable go-to guy. Stephen Spock, backed up by Anthony Becht, who's had an active day. 2 turnovers for each team so far today.
And mentioning Anthony Becht, I think Beanie Wells is going to take him out to dinner, because the first fumble Becht recovered on the 1, and the second fumble Becht was the one to tap the Jacksonville defender to keep him down on the 20.
A major difference in swing position for field position. Warner with a quick pass to Bolden, who has a first down and then goes out of bounds around the 20-yard line.
Pass complete to number 81.
Derek Cox covering. The coverage here.
After only having a couple catches last week, Anquan Bolden's a lot more involved. This is 7th reception of the day. You can see the separation there. The outside receiver comes in. Breston comes in to try and make that block. It's enough for him to get the first down. But Anquan Bolden, he told us he had to get 110 tickets and charter a couple of buses to bring his family and friends over, and he's having a big day for Arizona.
From Florida State, as we mentioned, and Pahokee, Florida, which is about a 3-hour drive here from Jacksonville, on 1st and 10. That's Bolden moving to the right side. Warner setting up. Pass to Fitzgerald. Not a lot of running room for Larry. Larry Fitzgerald, a guy who, as a youngster, would practice catching a football in the dark so that he felt the feel of the ball. And as a guy who in the middle of the night wakes up and walks through pass patterns to feel comfortable on the route.
And what Arizona is trying to do, you can see the crossing routes between Anthony Becht and Larry Fitzgerald. He's trying to pick, or as the offensive players like to say, you're trying to rub those defenders to get the receiver open. So I know defensive coaches don't like to hear the pick thing, so you generalize it more as a rub. And Jacksonville did a good job of responding to that once Larry caught the ball.
You can be called for a penalty with a pick, but for the rub, I guess not.
That's right.
2nd down, Warner for Fitzgerald. And Larry Fitzgerald, touchdown. Leaping toward the goal line.
You know, it was a matter of time before they started getting the ball up the field. They've been doing some underneath stuff. They have a bunch formation here. There's 3 receivers. They've thrown several times the quick throw to Anquan Bolden underneath, where Kurt just takes 1 step and throws. You can see the defenders all rally to Bolden, and that allows Fitzgerald to get in the crease up the sideline. Kurt does a good job of putting it on, and Larry, with his natural athletic ability, is able to dive into the corner.
So 8 straight games, Larry Fitzgerald has caught a touchdown pass, including the postseason. That great run to the Super Bowl by the Cardinals and, of course, in the big game. 4 catches today. It may be humid here in Florida, but love is in the air when you're on top 31-3. Kurt Warner, 24 out of 26, 243 yards and a couple of touchdowns. And he's not finished yet.
Well, so much for all the critics this past week that were saying that Kurt is over the hill. He's too old. He can't recover from the injury and the offseason surgery to his hip. I think he's responded pretty emphatically today.
We are so reactionary after one game, even after 2. The kickoff here from Rackers. Bounces is taken by one of the up players around the 10-yard line, and plenty of running room for Montel Owens, who helps them with their best field position in quite a while across the 35 of Jacksonville.
Well, Montel Owens makes an argument for himself to get the ball more. He lowered the boom on a couple of coverage guys, and you got to get him in the mix and give Jones-Drew an opportunity to get some rest on the offensive side.
And Rackers, the kicker, likes to get on there and get in the way. He didn't stand back.
That's crazy.
Well, didn't Kevin
look at him. He's running the entire time. I mean, he's going to get blown. Look, he almost gets rolled up on right there. Look, fortunately, he got his legs up in the air.
And a hurry up here on the part of the Jags as Maurice Jones-Drew carries. And that's what Ken Wisenhunt said. I don't mind it being aggressive, but I don't want my kicker getting hurt. And he's leaning over. That's your Pro Bowl points guy.
I think that'll be enough to convince him to just kind of drift in the background and be the safety like he's supposed to be.
A kicker with attitude. We already had Josh Scobie of Jacksonville get called for an unsportsmanlike conduct when he took his helmet off in the first half after his kick was blocked, and the return for a touchdown by Antrell Roll and the Cardinals. 2nd down 6. Maurice Jones-Drew. It'll be 3rd down. Maurice Williams, the right guard, went in for an IV, so the heat and humidity getting one of the hometown players. On 3rd down now.
If you look at the play calling from the last series, it was almost like they were trying to do the deep drop backs and get the ball up the field. Now it looks like they've settled into the fact they know they're down 28 points. Let's just run our regular game plan. Let's run the ball, get into manageable 3rd downs. And if we happen to come back, we come back. But let's get something positive for our offense.
Cardinals come with pressure. Garrard floats one. And that was intended for Maurice Jones-Drew at a penalty flag for obvious reasons. Now, Maurice has 10 rushes for 61 yards, but they have not used him as much as a receiver in this game.
Well, on this play here, Torrey Holt's doing an underneath route, and if David Garrard wants the 1st down, take Torrey Holt on the pivot route underneath. He comes
Pass
in.
interference. Defense. Number 53. Spot foul. Automatic. 1st down.
Torrey Holt does an in and out route underneath the coverage. He has Jones-Drew coming from out of the backfield, running a shoot route up the sideline one-on-one with the linebacker, and he has an opportunity. You can see Torrey comes inside and he goes back out, and the running back is coming out of the backfield on the shoot route. If you want the 1st down, take Torrey for the 1st down, but he sees the one-on-one matchup and decides to go up the field and try and get the big play, and they were fortunate. They got the pass interference call and gets him inside the 40.
3 catches for Jones-Drew. Montel Owens is in the backfield and is met hard and brought down for a loss. Smothering defensive play by Alan Branch. And Uche Waniri is in at the guard spot for Maurice Williams. But whatever the Jags are doing on the offensive line, in this 2nd half, the Cardinal defense is plowing through.
There has been consistent pressure on David Garrard this entire 2nd half. He's been sacked 3 times since we came back from halftime. And once again, on this drive, they're trying to mix it up and give a little bit more balance. But anytime you run the ball on 1st down, you can't lose 2, because as a play caller, now all of a sudden your entire script goes out the door.
2nd down 12 for Jacksonville. Garrard's pass low around the 30 and incomplete. That was intended for Ernest Wilford. It'll be 3rd and long.
And as much as I'd like to say it was there was something wrong, and being a quarterback, I know the feeling of struggling the way that David Garrard is today, but that's a play right there where he's got to step up and make that throw. Yes, there's a safety driving from behind, but you keep that on the receiver's body and give him a chance to make the ball. And right now, David Garrard just doesn't seem comfortable in the pocket.
And 2 for 10 on 3rd down, as those two are enjoying a little fun in the sun here in Florida. Garrard wide open. first down at the 25-yard line. That's Mike Sims Walker, whose nickname is Big Game, and there it was a big play.
And we've hammered the offensive line about protection. On that one, they gave David Garrard all kinds of time. He stood in the pocket, was able to make his read, put an accurate throw on the receiver, and gave him the ability to get the first down. And those are the types of things that you're going to have for Jacksonville if they're going to have to get any sort of continuity the rest of the way. And Arizona here is only rushing 4 defenders. When you have a line like that, you have to be able to block those 4 defenders and give your quarterback time.
First and 10 from the 25. Maurice Jones-Drew split out wide as a receiver on the right. Garrard has plenty of time and goes down the middle to no one. Incomplete, in fact. Antrell Roll was the nearest receiver in the end zone.
And it looked like Garrard was trying to get a double move to Sims Walker. Sims Walker was running in the left slot. He was going up. He made a nod route on the defender that was over him, the nickelback that was over him, and he tried getting back to the inside of the field. You can see Sims Walker comes up here. He does an outside and comes back in. And it looks like Garrard is just trying to throw it to that spot, but he never gets across that defender's face. And as a quarterback, you can't wait till he gets open. You've got to anticipate where he's going to be. And I got to put that on Sims Walker for not continuing his route, just stopping.
Second down 10. Quick pass. Nate Hughes gets nothing. Garrard. Pass is complete to his tight end Lewis. Mercedes Lewis has a Jacksonville touchdown.
And that's what you have to do if you're David Garrard. Arizona decides on that time. Bill Davis has been doing a good job of mixing it up as the defensive coordinator for Arizona. He's been bringing pressure. This time he only rushes 3 and drops 8 into coverage. As a quarterback, you can't force the ball upfield. Throw it to your big man underneath. Tell him to rip through a couple of would-be tacklers and get in the zone.
Mercedes Lewis, one of those guys who stayed here year-round to work out with Garrard instead of going back home. He's a 4th-year player out of UCLA. Was a teammate with the Bruins of Maurice Jones-Drew. And a big play there. He's been active today. And with the extra point, it's now 31-10. Arizona leading the Jags. And the fans here in Jacksonville have something to holler about. 1:31 to go here in the third quarter. And it looks like Kurt Warner may be getting a breather. We saw Matt Leinart, the lefty out of USC, warming up with his helmet on. Is that a little early?
Prior to Jacksonville scoring, I would have said no, but now with a 21-point game, and we're not quite to the 4th quarter yet, this may be a little bit early.
And on the return, Stevens howling for Arizona up around the 27, 28-yard line. And it looks like it will be Matt Leinart. And Kurt Warner bouncing back again. I can't emphasize enough, he didn't bring it up, but he was annoyed about his lowest passer rating ever in the first game of a season, 67.4. That tough loss to San Francisco, and he lit it up today. And now Matt Leinart gets a chance to work with the offense.
And Matt Leinart's someone that has struggled early in his career when he had some opportunities to play. He had some problems with his health early in his career, but he's had an offseason of getting prepared for this opportunity to be the backup. He went through a battle with St. Pierre in the preseason, and now he has his opportunity to play.
That's Anquan Bolden on the carry to the 32, 33-yard line. Matt Leinart, you know, you go back to just before the Super Bowl season, and that preseason, it was his job. I mean, he was going to be the guy. Kurt Warner beat him out. And the rest, of course, for this Cardinal team getting to the Super Bowl and riding through the arm of Kurt Warner, then re-signing Kurt Warner. Matt Leinart stuck in that backup role.
Well, and much was made of Matt Leinart's offseason, working with our own Fox's Jay Glazer this offseason and some of the ultimate fighting type training to work on his core, to work on his balance, and hopefully make him a tougher quarterback.
That's Beanie Wells. He's trying to protect the football and does. Clint Ingram makes sure he doesn't gain anything, so it'll be a third down, 30 seconds and ticking here in the third quarter. Jacksonville gets a stop, gets good field position, and if they can take it in, I know these are ifs, but then it tightens things a little bit.
Well, it does, and right now it looks like the play clock's gonna give the ability for this thing to run out the quarter. So the Cardinals have a big third down coming up here. If they don't convert, they're going to be tight in their end of the end zone. Jacksonville's going to get good field position. All of a sudden, they go down and get another touchdown. It's a 14-point game, and whether or not we see Kurt Warner come back in the game, I'm not sure.
Start of the fourth quarter and a third down big for the Jacksonville defense. When the smoke clears on this play, where do you think they're going with it?
Well, I think that Jacksonville is going to bring pressure here. I think that Matt Leinart has been sitting on the sideline all day. He hasn't seen pressure in some time, hasn't been the one standing in the pocket facing it. So I'd anticipate them putting some pressure on Matt to see how he handles it.
And Leinart sets up to throw and easily to Breston, who has a first down near midfield.
And how Steve Breston gets that wide open when Jacksonville rushes 3 and drops 8 into coverage, and yet they were able to get Steve Breston. When he catches the ball, he already has the first down. Then he has the ability to run after the catch. The Cardinals are lined up in a bunch formation, and you can see Breston's lined up on the outside. The 2 inside receivers clear it out. He's able to come underneath, and when he catches the ball, he's 2 yards short of the first down, and nobody's there. How you can rush 3 and drop 8 and leave a guy that open, that's something they have to address in Jacksonville, because teams will do that to him all year.
17-yard pickup on the Leinart to Breston connection, and this is Beanie Wells, who has a couple of yards. Wonder what Matt Leinart thought of USC's tough loss up at Washington yesterday.
And amazingly, Beanie Wells went into the line there with a big pile of guys, and he still had the ball in one hand. He's had 2 fumbles already today, and you'd think with that type of congestion in the middle of the field that you'd put that second hand on there just to be sure.
And Wells, a guy that they said for a 21 years old Ohio State that really just give him the ball and said run. He has a lot of football to learn at the NFL level. So he's out and Hightower's in on 2nd and 7, and the Cardinals chewing up the clock. That's Breston in motion. And Hightower gets the carry. A penalty flag flies, and he goes down a couple yards short of a first down. So the question about too early, not if the Cardinals keep moving the football. It's not.
Holding. Offense. Number 83. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
Tight end Steven Spock called for the penalty.
Anytime you reach out and grab a defender, the officials are going to see it. And he steps and he's getting beat inside. So he immediately puts his hands across and he falls to the ground and he grabs him. And that's going to be called every time. And really there wasn't a need for it, because the defender took himself out of the play by taking the inside gap. So all you have to do is shove him by, and Hightower runs to the outside.
From the 42-yard line, 2nd and 17. 4-man rush. Plenty of time. Pass complete at the 47-48-yard line to Anquan Bolden. It'll bring up 3rd down at about 10-11.
And that was a little bit conservative on Matt's part. Anquan Bolden had 2 defenders on him. Yes, he was open. You could get underneath. But if you look to the outside, Larry Fitzgerald had one-on-one coverage with a comeback right near the first down sticks. And maybe Matt Leinart just trying to get comfortable. He hasn't been in the game. He hasn't been throwing. Just trying to get his feet underneath him and put him into a little bit more manageable 3rd down. But he did have one-on-one on the outside with Fitzgerald. In
his 4th year, he started 16 NFL games. In relief here of Warner, Reston on 3rd and 11. Plenty of time for Fitzgerald, who reaches up, and did he hang on? No, says the official. Remember, it's a process. All the way through the play, you must come down and then up with it cleanly and have possession of the football.
Fitzgerald, look at the cushion here on this 3rd down play. He's able to get out of the break. The ball is high. He goes up, he makes the catch, but as he comes down, it pops out. Now, does he come up with the ball? But by that time, he's already laying out of bounds, and that's what the official ruled. He said, yes, you had possession, but your back was laying in the white by the time you had control of the ball.
First Arizona punt today, and Graham was the first Australian to play at a Super Bowl as Ben Graham boots it. Nate Hughes is going to let it fall near the out-of-bounds marker at the 15-yard line. Gerard's pass, and that is excellent coverage. Knocked away and incomplete. Brian McFadden was right there with Torrey Holt.
McFadden did a great job of reacting to the ball, driving on Torrey's route, and getting up and ripping his arms. You can see this cushion isn't as big as what some of the other cushions we've seen today. He plants his back foot, drives on the ball, and really rips down Torrey's arms. See him grab that left arm and just rips it down. There's no way for him to catch that ball.
2nd and 10. Quick snap Gerard. He's got Hughes, who is brought down right around the 20-21 yard line. Rashad Johnson, the ball-hawking rookie out of Alabama, was the first one to get to him. Rashad Johnson, a 2-year starter at Alabama, and was one of the rare guys for the Crimson Tide to be named captain twice. 3rd down now for the Jags. by Holt. It's amazing as low as that was that he was able to come up with it.
He's able to get his hands underneath it, come up with a big catch to give him the first down. But once again, David Garrard, this is another throw where he's leaving it short, and I'm not sure if he's not transferring through, if he's not transferring through his weight, but he hasn't been real consistent with his throws today.
Maurice Jones-Drew on the carry, protecting the football on first down. And again, Troy Williamson injured, so the Jags working on this possible comeback with 3 receivers. Jared Dillard, their rookie from Rice, was inactive today, along with Mike Thomas, the rookie from Arizona. They've been trying to upgrade the receiver position for years, and with Troy Williamson and Torrey Holt, Garrard said these are the best set of starters he's had since he's been here. Rashad Jennings carries, does not get the first down. It'll bring up 3rd and short. You see the numbers of Garrard along with some of the other scores from around the NFL. Waneri in at center for Meester, who stepped off the field with the injury. They only need 2. Garrard is going to get it and has a first down at the 47-48-yard line of Jacksonville.
And some people may say, well, why wasn't there a penalty there? When Garrard got out of the pocket, he was running up in there. You can see his head whips back because of a clothesline type action from the linebacker. And when the quarterback's out of the pocket, he's just like any other running back, so they're not going to call that hit to the head like he would in the pocket.
On first down, quick toss to Maurice Jones-Drew. Got a little bit of room, but quickly met hard by Antrell Roll. Clock continues to run, 9:50 and counting. Brad Meester is back in at center for Jacksonville. We've had guys trotting in and out with injuries, needing IVs. Temperature up in the 80s, the humidity up there, the sun beaming through the game. It had rained earlier here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it rained probably the 3 hours prior to kickoff, so I know this field's moist and I know the humidity is going to be high, and these guys, it's a good job there by putting that screen in. You want to get that defensive front 4 for the Cardinals to get tired because they're continually running upfield. Dump a screen, make them run even more.
Second down, Garrard. Quick pass. That is caught. Nice move by Mike Sims-Walker to turn that little hook into a big gain down to the 30. First down, Jacksonville.
And Gerald Hayes does a good job of pursuing from the play. He's at the inside spot. He's a linebacker. He turns back. Sims-Walker makes his cut inside, and Hayes is there to blow him up as he's cutting back to the inside part of the field. And that's what you want to do as the Arizona defense. You want to rally to the ball.
Quick snap. Jones-Drew working for a couple yards up the middle. Adrian Wilson there to make the stop. Adrian Wilson, a safety. He can be linebacker. They've lined him up at defensive end. He's everywhere you want to be.
Well, we talked to him yesterday, and he said, you know, they line me up all over the field. They can line me up at safety, corner, defensive end, linebacker. They utilize me in a number of different ways. And Bill Davis, the defensive coordinator for the Cardinals, knows that teams focus on him, where he's going to be, because they want to run the ball away from him or throw the ball away from him. So they're going to utilize him in a number of different spots to try and cause confusion for the offense.
And Garrard aware of where Wilson is lining up now. Quick pass. Torrey Holt has it inside the 19. That's another Jacksonville first down. And Adrian Wilson, for the record, on that fine of Vernon Davis, there was obviously not a suspension, a $10,000 fine. He said, I'm aware of the rules. It's not going to change the way I play the game. And it has not for Adrian Wilson. First and 10 Jags.
And you can see they move him around. Adrian Wilson, they have him lined up at a linebacker depth here. And when the offensive line came up, that's who they pointed out from a protection standpoint.
Incomplete, intended for Jones-Drew. It'll be second down. The breeze picking up a little bit here in Jacksonville. This is, I would assume, 4-down territory, even with all 3 timeouts remaining for the Jags.
And this is smart by Jacksonville. They had an incompletion, so the clock is stopped. Huddle your guys up. Let them rest a little bit. Get everybody gathered. Get the information out to them instead of trying to do the hurry up. When the clock's running, go ahead and do the hurry up. But when you have a chance for the guys to regroup a little bit, that was a good decision on Jacksonville's part.
Hoping to take advantage of the heat and humidity, the wear and tear on the defense. Time for Garrard. The pressure coming. Garrard pointing, spinning. He's got to get rid of it, and does, out of bounds. And no intentional grounding there, obviously, up past the line of scrimmage.
And you worry about David Garrard taking too many hits. He does a good job of scrambling. He does a good job of buying time and trying to to wait and get guys open. We touched on earlier that he's not someone that likes to take off. Yes, he does a good job of running the ball. He can get upfield and run the ball, but everybody's covered. He's trying to buy time with his feet, and he does a good job at throwing the ball away, but he gets a little bit of unnecessary hit there, a little extra hit that there's going to be some wear and tear this season.
A lot of valuable time run off the clock on 3rd and 10. Gerard goes underneath and dropped by Montel Owens. It'll be a 4th down.
And the key thing about that drop, knowing that they're in 4-down territory, knowing that they're down 21 points, come up with the catch. Yes, you're going to be tackled, but you're going to be at 4th and 4, 4th and 3, as opposed to now you got a 4th and 10. And Bill Davis, the Cardinals defensive coordinator, has done a great job of mixing up pressure. But what they've done this last drive is they're rushing 4 and dropping 7 into coverage, and it'll be interesting to see how they play this. With a 21-point lead, they'll probably only rush 4 again.
So they need a 1st down. That would be 10. A touchdown would be nice on 4th down. Any hope the Jags have? What a catch, man. That's going to be a touchdown, Jacksonville. Mike Sims-Walker.
And just when I talk about rushing 4 and dropping 7 into coverage, they decide to bring pressure, which leaves all of your defenders one-on-one in coverage, and all it takes is one missed tackle, and you're taking it to the house. So you take that risk as a defensive coordinator, knowing all your guys are one-on-one and on an island, and if something bad happens with that one player, then it's a touchdown. And they decide to take that risk, and when you have a 21-point lead, that's when you can afford to take it. But now all of a sudden, with a 14-point lead, does Arizona respond by putting Kurt Warner back in the game or staying with Matt Leinart?
31-17. And the kick, no onside here, going deep, and Scobie boots it into the end zone where LaRod Stevens-Howling downs it. Matt Leinart, who came in the 3rd quarter, in relief, just a rest for Warner. Has Tim Hightower in the backfield. That's Spock, the tight end, moving. Warner looks to throw. And over the head, incomplete. A little bit high for Anthony Beck.
And that's a play that Beck has to make. Leinart does a good job of rolling outside the pocket. Your flat receiver is covered. He drops it in the zone behind. Was that ball a little bit behind? Was it a little bit high? Yeah, it was, but Anthony Beck gets his hands on it. He's got to come in with that catch.
Another key play was a high throw for Larry Fitzgerald on the previous series that Fitzgerald almost came down with. Leinart, you can understand, a little bit rusty, although played quite a bit in the preseason. Remember, this Cardinal offense did not look sharp in the preseason or in week 1, but today in a rhythm with Warner on 2nd and 10. Pass is high again, but Stevens-Howling catches it. The Jag defense, led by Justin Durant, stopped him in a hurry. It's 3rd down.
Well, and this game is all of a sudden getting interesting. You put Leinart in the game. The decision was made to put Matt Leinart in the game when it was 31-3, so there was a 28-point lead, but Jacksonville went down to score, got it to within 21 before Leinart ever stepped on the field. They haven't been able to utilize any time. They haven't utilized any 1st downs. And so now this is a huge 3rd down for the Cardinals, because not only do they need a 1st down, they need to use up the clock and get some field position. Otherwise, the Jaguars get the ball back.
Leinart under pressure, throws it early and incomplete. It brings up a punting situation now. It puts a lot of pressure on Leinart to put him in that situation. Now, does Kurt Warner, do you think about bringing him back in if you're Ken Wisenhunt, if this gets even closer?
Well, I think you have to see how the Jaguars respond. The thing that I question about that last week, they didn't even use up a minute of play time. They threw 3 straight passes. 2 of them were incomplete, so the clock wasn't running. And, so not only do you not get a 1st down and utilize field position, but you don't utilize any clock. And now Jacksonville's going to get the ball back and with plenty of time on the clock.
Nate Hughes, after the Graham punt, wisely gets out of bounds around the 38-yard line. From the shotgun, it's David Garrard on 1st down. He has time for Sims-Walker.
This Jacksonville offensive line has had criticism last week and this week. Whenever David Garrard takes a deep drop in the pocket, The offensive line does a good job of giving him that shell to where he has time to set his feet, do a couple bounces, let the receivers work their routes, and then Garrard, this is his best throw of the day. He puts it right in between the corner and safety that are playing a cover 2 and drops it in there.
On first down, they go with a run that gains nothing to Maurice Jones-Drew. And Mike Sims-Walker has become the go-to guy. Troy Williamson went out with a shoulder injury. Torrey Holt has 6 catches in the game, and Mercedes Lewis has come up with some big catches for Garrard, including a touchdown.
And it's interesting, as soon as that big pass completion, you look over to the Cardinals sideline and Kurt Warner is back warming up again.
That deserves a wow. On second down. And Garrard spins right into the rush. It'll bring up third down. Clock running here. Just over 5 minutes to play. But again, Jacksonville with all 3 of their timeouts. And there is Kurt Warner. You have to figure that part of it was you had a big lead for Ken Whisenhunt, but a veteran quarterback, the hip surgery, why leave him out there, risk an injury if you don't have to?
You're right. I can understand why they did, because when the decision was made, it was a 28-point lead. But because the ineffectiveness, not of Matt Leinart, but of the offense in general, they haven't run the ball well. They put pressure on him because they're long down in distances on third down. So it's not a reflection of him necessarily. It's a reflection of the offense not doing well in the fourth quarter.
And this is sloppy. Jacksonville lets the clock run here, and then they're going to have to use one of their timeouts, and you're in 4-down territory. So it is 3rd down and 13 from the 31. Garrard for Hughes, and it's incomplete. Excellent coverage. 4th down, Ralph Brown helping out an extra defensive back.
And that's a good job by David Garrard. He has pocket, he has the time. There's a chance to make a play. The defensive back may get there a little early. You can see with his left hand, he gets on the receiver's back and tugs him and pulls him back some. But that's too close of a play in this critical of a situation. If it's an iffy call, the officials aren't going to call that.
Matt Ware out with a shoulder injury, one of those defensive backs that normally would be helping in this situation for the Cardinals. So here it is on 4th down. They need 13. Garrard throws on the run for the X4. The end zone for Hughes again.
The defensive player falls down, and Hughes has a chance to make this touchdown catch, and it hits him right off the helmet.
And Nate Hughes, the free agent from Alcorn State, with a big chance. Hits his shoulder pad.
You can see Rashad Johnson gets confused with where the ball is, and as he spins, he falls down and loses track of the receiver and loses track of the ball. David Garrard, you just got to be sick on that.
And you can see Ernest Wilford talking to Hughes, saying, hang in there, young fella. Hughes went to the same high school in Starkville, Mississippi, as a guy named Jerry Rice. So Matt Leinart can run things out, possibly. This is Hightower, who gets an Arizona first down and then goes out of bounds. On 1st and 10, Hightower sure-handed. On 2nd down and 7, Cardinals want to chew up as much of the clock as they can as Hightower carries, and penalty flag has come out.
3rd and final charge timeout, Jacksonville.
Now maybe
30-second timeout.
And there is the owner of the Jacksonville Jags who says, no, we're not selling the team.
Jacksonville here, unbelievably, coming out of a timeout. They have 12 players on the field, and they're going to get penalized for that, giving Arizona a first down when they had a chance to stop them.
And those are the kind of frustrating.
Prior to the timeout, we have defense, 12 men. That 5-yard penalty will be from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
Hightower carries, showing some power, getting near the first down marker on 2nd down. And now Matt Leinart on 3rd and 1. Hightower, that's going to be close. Jacksonville now out of timeouts. So they did not get the first. They're going to take the penalty on the punt to give more room.
We talked about Kurt Warner's ability to spread the ball around, and he did utilize a number of different receivers.
Game, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
But of his 24 completions, he had 19 of those 24 completions were to his 4 wide receivers. And anytime you can get the ball up the field to the receivers. Last week against San Francisco, you know, he dumped the ball off to Hightower 12 times. And if you're keeping things underneath like that, as an offense, Arizona wants to push the ball up the field.
And Warner never really threatened in terms of quarterback pressure. The punt lands inside the 5 and into the end zone. That's a break for the Jags. So Garrard, and we've seen bits and pieces of the hurry-up offense, will lead with Maurice Jones-Drew in the backfield. 3 wide receivers. And he throws complete. Mike Sims-Walker steps out of bounds, a big gainer.
And David Garrard has the ability in the pocket because of his size. Yes, he has lost 20 pounds. He has the ability in his stature in the pocket that if you don't get a good hit on him, he's going to just shrug you off. And that's what he did on the last play. Just rolled his shoulders. The defender went flying by. He stepped in there and made a nice throw in the crease of the zone defense of the Cardinals.
21-yard pickup from the 41. Garrard 6'1", about 235. And a 1st and 10. Cardinals with the 4-man rush. He has time. He's going deep for Holt. In between 2 defenders. Incomplete.
And you say, why is he throwing into triple coverage? Why is he putting the ball up the field? Well, they're down 14 points with 2:43 to go, and you have to take some shots. Yes, you want to throw the underneath stuff, get first downs, move the chains, but when you're down 14, you're trying to make something happen. Put the ball up there. Let your receivers try and go and make a catch, and sometimes you have to take chances at this point in time on the field.
Much better numbers than the opening week for Garrard, but Jacksonville looking for a W. The 15th year of this franchise. Previous home openers, a record of 9-4. Rashad Jennings in the backfield on 2nd and 10. Cardinals threaten blitz. They bring extra. And it's picked up. Garrard has time. And he misses Nate Hughes on the sideline. It'll be 3rd down. And on the run is Garrard. He gets rid of it, and it is picked off at the 41. It looked like the receiver was trying to pull it out of the hands, but Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie showed good hands for the interception.
I put that on the receiver. David Garrard's back there running for his life, trying to buy time, trying to make things happen, give the receivers an ability to get open. Right here you see the receiver is coming back for the ball, but Rodgers-Cromartie, he comes back to the ball more urgency, faster to the ball, and that's on the receiver. That's on Sims-Walker for not coming back. And if anything, you've got to rip that DB's arms down, and Rodgers-Cromartie just wanted the ball more.
And for David Garrard, the lowest interception percentage among active quarterbacks. So the receiver, as you pointed out, at fault there, and Rodgers-Cromartie, one of the speed guys, and used that speed to his advantage. 2:25 to go. No timeouts, remember, so it'll be up to Hightower and Whiting to run the clock down. Hightower wants to stay inbound intentionally to take us to the 2-minute warning. Garrard had to put the ball up 43 times today. They didn't get a lot of running yards from Maurice Jones-Drew.
And with no timeouts for Jacksonville, once it gets to the 2-minute warning, they can take a knee and this thing will be done.
Cardinals about to secure their first win of this season. They'll be in prime time. They look like prime time players today. In prime time against the Colts next Sunday night. And they're going to try and run the clock down. You know, Sean Morey, the special teams player, was one of 3 NFL players who said they would donate their brains to science at Boston University this week, obviously, once he passes on, so they can do research on pounding of professional athletes and concussions. You certainly understand that, having suffered a few in your playing days.
I do understand that, and the fact that there's been a lot of research done, but there have been a lot of former players, a lot of former athletes from different sports, and Sean Morey this week stepped up with Matt Burke of Baltimore and Lofa Tatupu of Seattle and said that once we've passed, we want to donate our brains so they can study and see the trauma that you go through from repeated collisions over the course of your career.
And, of course, Sean Morey, after he mentioned that, it was funny, one of the defensive players, Darnell Dockett, told Paul Calvisi of the Cardinals broadcast crew that as a defensive guy, they wouldn't want my brain. It's already mush. Got to have a sense of humor when you play on that defensive side of the football.
But But on another note, it is a serious issue, and it's great that these players are doing it. To think the research that can be done and find out from a long-term effect. I know there's been a lot of improvements with helmet safety. Helmets have changed quite a bit over the last few years. A number of different companies are presenting different helmets that reduce concussions, and the way that teams manage concussions from the trainer standpoint to the doctor standpoint has improved quite a bit around the league.
And Leinart running it out. So when he came in the third quarter with a minute and a half to go, Ken Wisenhunt knew what he was doing against Jack Del Rio's Jacksonville Jags, who slipped to 0-2 and head on to Houston. Meanwhile, Kurt Warner and the Cardinals, just like it was one game in the loss on the opening weekend, they certainly had their offense and Super Bowl rhythm back.